What's going on, guys? My name is Trevor. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since we've done a top 10 list, but today I'm sharing with you my top 10 best movies of the decade so far from 2020 till, I guess, now of 2024, the beginning of 2024. No movies from 2024 will be on this list. Let me know your picks for the top 10 best movies of the decade so far. Again, 2020, so basically the end of 2023. What do you deem to be the best movie? We went through the pandemic. We went through all these movies going to VOD, movies that were going to streaming and theaters at the exact same time. So many movies have come out. It's been a pretty good year for decade, barring everything that has gone on, and even with the strike. Nonetheless, I think there's been some fantastic movies. Let's hop into them. Before I give you guys my top 10, I'm actually going to give a couple honorable mentions. These are movies that didn't quite make the list, but still I wanted to give them a shout out. First and foremost, I have not yet even seen this movie, but it's Everything Everywhere All at Once. Wanted to give this one a shout out. It's the most popular A24 movie. Everyone loves this one, so I haven't seen it, but I wanted to give it a shout out. We have The Fabelmans. This is Steven Spielberg, basically loosely based off of his life. If you haven't seen it, and you have a dream, and you want to go get something, please watch this movie. It is fantastic. It is brilliant. Steven Spielberg, it's one of my favorite Spielberg movies of recent years. The Last Duel, Ridley Scott, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Jodie Comer. This movie was just hard to watch, but it was done so well. It's a hard one to watch. It's very dark, but I highly recommend it. Promising Young Woman. This is from Emerald Fennell, and we're actually going to include her other movie that came out this decade, which is Saltburn. Both these movies from Emerald Fennell have been absolutely insane. Emerald Fennell knows just how to capture, first off, great-looking movies, but she also knows how to capture movies that keep you on the edge of your seat, keep you guessing until the end credits start to roll. Promising Young Woman, Saltburn, gotta watch them both. How about Judas and the Black Messiah? Back in 2020, I did the virtual Sundance, one of the best experiences ever. I watched like 17 movies in 3 days. It was a great time from the comfort of my home. It was awesome. And Judas and the Black Messiah was easily the best movie of the Sundance Festival. You even have Daniel Kaluuya, who won the Oscar for this movie. Gotta watch it if you haven't already. Throwing Elvis on there, I think that Austin Butler was snubbed and robbed of that Oscar. I understand. Great performances all around. But he sang just pitch perfect as Elvis. He acted just like Elvis. This movie, I loved it. My wife loved it. I saw it twice in theaters. I own it on Blu-ray. I wish it got more love at the Oscars. It didn't, but I wish it did. And finally, for our honorable mentions, I'm including RRR. Watch this. Please watch this. It's on Netflix right now. If you haven't watched it, stop this. Just who cares? Go watch it, because RRR, it is insane. It is action-packed. You will be screaming and pounding your chest. The musical numbers, everything throughout this movie is bloody brilliant. I hope they make a sequel, because I'm freaking there. So that's going to do it for honorable mentions. Now I'll top into the top 10. And one final thing, I'm not including any comic book movies on this list. I'm saving those for a comic book movie decade ranking coming in the next couple weeks. So no comic book movies will be on it. Starting this list off at number 10 is going to be Avatar: The Way of Water. I love this movie. I saw it twice in theaters. I watched it all the time at home on Disney+. James Cameron, he's just one of my favorite filmmakers. He's on my Mount Rushmore for directors. And I love the first Avatar. I love the second Avatar. I understand the stories aren't the most complex thing in the world, but the visuals of this movie just captivate you. And I was so involved with Avatar: The Way of Water. The family dynamic they gave you with Jake Sully, Neytiri, and all their children trying to go into a new tribe, kind of go into find out exactly who they are and really have to blend in to keep out of danger with a new tribe, with new people. It's like taking your kids to a different school. They're going to get in fights. You have to kind of figure out what's going on. I thought James Cameron nailed that. The father dynamic throughout this movie and the father-son relationship throughout this movie, it just hits you so hard. The visuals, again, are bloody brilliant. I had chills so many times throughout this movie. It's one of those movies I can watch pretty much any time of day, and I'm not going to not watch. At number 9, Kota. This won Best Picture. It swept the Oscars. It was nominated for 3 awards. It won all 3 awards. Kota was just amazing. It just hits you right in the feels, where it's just about wanting more with your life, and it's just so grounded, and it's just going to make you cry, man. It's going to hit you right in the feels, and you're going to be crying. You're like, am I crying in the club right now? I'm crying in the club right now. It's just a movie that is so real. Best compliment I can give this movie. It's real. It's beautiful. It's on Apple TV+. I highly recommend you watch it if you haven't. Number 8, Steven Spielberg's Westside Story. I have not seen the original Westside Story, but seeing this one, I went in pretty much blind. I know it's a musical. I love this movie. The music was done so well. The performances are great. Just like a Romeo and Juliet tale. Steven Spielberg, he's just a master. The musical numbers are done great throughout this movie. The way it captures your emotion throughout it, it's brilliant. The musical numbers, again, especially Rachel Zegler. I mean, she can just sing so well. Tonight, tonight. At number 7, Air. Air is one of those dad movies that I will watch for the rest of my life. It's not even about Michael Jordan. It's about making of Michael Jordan's shoe. That is insane that a movie of this caliber, with this cast, with this script, obviously it's going to be good, but who knew it was going to be this good? About the making of a shoe. I didn't know it was going to be that good. Matt Damon, he's one of my favorite actors to ever do it. Jason Bateman, I think, is one of the most underappreciated actors to ever do it. And Ben Affleck is solidifying himself as one of my favorite directors of all time. I love movies about sports that aren't actual about the sport, but about the business side of sports. They did them with Moneyball. They're doing it with Air. It just works for me. These movies I find incredibly entertaining. The soundtrack is fantastic. I watched the movie about 4 times. It's my movie I watched, my go-to movie on a flight. About a 2-hour flight, I'm throwing on Air. The time's going to fly by. At number 6, A Quiet Place Part 2. They captured lightning in a bottle with the first Quiet Place movie. We all thought they can't do it again with a sequel. Well, they did it again with a sequel, because A Quiet Place Part 2, I even think, is better than the first Quiet Place movie. I love how this movie starts, how you basically get to see what happens, where they all are. Great shots from John Krasinski, and the movie itself just captures it so well. And you get to find out that these beasts, these creatures, these aliens do not like water. Cillian Murphy is fantastic. Emily Blunt, as always, is great. And the kids throughout this movie, I mean, they're just awesome. They're some of the best working actors today, and they're children. I mean, it's just insane. It's one of those movies that's just going to keep you on the edge of your seat. You're going to be screaming. You're going to be kind of smacking your chair saying, go, 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 go. It's just one of those movies that you can watch at any time, and you're going to be involved with how intense it actually is. And it doesn't have like the same horror aspects as the first Quiet Place movie, but this one is more thrilling. Again, you're on the edge of your seat, you're smacking, you're just involved with them so much. They have a third Quiet Place movie called Quiet Place Day 1 coming out in a couple months, hoping to capture lightning in a bottle 3 times. Breaking us into the top 5, Godzilla -1. I was itching to see this movie because everyone was talking such high praise about it, and my goodness, I was so grateful that I actually got to be able to see this in theaters, and there was about 15 people in my theater in a foreign movie on a big screen. That was an awesome experience because everyone was so involved in this, and this is one of the best made movies of 2023, and I thought 2023 was a damn good year for movies. But Godzilla -1, the more I talk about it, the more I think about it, it might be my favorite movie of last year. It is so good. It is so well done. It's a Godzilla movie where Godzilla's not the focal point. It's about these characters. It's about this camaraderie. It's about turning your life around and kind of gutting back on your feet when everything in the world has gone wrong. You have to dig yourself out of the dirt and get back on your feet. It's about the camaraderie of these characters. The camaraderie of basically these guys who become brothers throughout this whole adventure. And Godzilla just happens to be the villain. And the third act, when they're fighting Godzilla, it's done so well, especially with the $15 million budget. But they have so many kind of foreshadowing moments throughout this film, and they have little flashback tidbits they did here and there. There's a moment with a guy, our main character's flying a plane at Godzilla. He has a flashback of the love of his life. I almost cried. I literally almost cried. I was dang near crying in the club again. It is brilliant. Godzilla -1. It's still in theaters. It's getting re-released. It's doing magnificent numbers. Over $100 million at the box office. If you just listen to Bong Joon-ho, subtitles are a 2-inch barrier. You will be experienced to a whole new world of movies if you can get past them. Number 4, Denis Villeneuve's Dune. Dune is one of those movies that when I got out of it, I said, this is why you go to the movies. This is why you see movies. And this is one of those movies that released in theaters and on HBO Max the same day. And it still was profitable at the box office. Still did like almost $400 million, which I'm hoping Dune Part 2 does even more than that. Dune is one of those movies that had so much writing on it because it's already been a movie. It's off of one of the most popular books ever. And you had a huge cast. Everyone was going into this movie saying, what exactly are we going to expect? And Denis Villeneuve said kindly, hold my beer, people, because I'm one of the best sci-fi action directors of all time. They call it Lord of the Rings in space. Valid. It's so valid. Paul Atreides, played by Timothée Chalamet. He's one of the coolest and best and suavest and just epic heroes we've seen in cinema, at least in this decade, because he's a guy who is the prince. He's the heir to the throne. And all of a sudden, his entire throne, his entire family just gets murked right in front of him. So he has to face the music. He has to do something that has never been done before. And my goodness, did it set it up perfectly for a sequel. The cast is great. The score is great. The scope and direction is absolutely fantastic. Dune Part 2, my most anticipated movie of this year, solely for the reason of how much I love the first Dune. At number 3, Oppenheimer. I've watched this movie 2 times all the way through. Both times equally. I love it. A movie about historical politics and the creating of a bomb where people are just talking the whole time is 1000% one of the most fascinating, interesting, and invested movies I've ever been in my entire life. Now, I understand some people, it's not for them. A lot of my family members couldn't really get through this movie. They're wrong, but it's fine. You're completely wrong. It's kind of like he put all of his tricks about movie making and filmmaking on the screen, and he told everyone the way Denis Villeneuve did. He said, hold my beer. You're not giving me the recognition I deserve. I'm one of those directors that hasn't won a lot of Oscars. You think I can't do it? I'm going to do it. And he's going to do it. And he is doing it with Oppenheimer because it's the best movie of last year. It's number one. And it's, again, due to the cast, yes. Due to the direction, absolutely. But a movie about the creating of the atomic bomb, which we all slept in history class. Let's be honest. No history teacher was hitting it like the way Oppenheimer did it. You should show this movie in history class, because I promise you, people are going to be invested. At number 2, Guy Ritchie's The Gentleman. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's actually a top 5 favorite movie of all time for me. I saw this movie 3 times in theaters in 2020 before COVID. That's when this movie came out. I went in, just on a whim, said I'm going to go see it. I like Guy Ritchie. I love Matthew McConaughey, and it has a great cast. Henry Golding, Colin Farrell, Matthew McConaughey. Again, it's a good casted movie. So I was like, okay, I'm just going in for that. Went in, was like, okay, what's this going to be about? Came out loving it. Saw it again the next day. Saw it again 3 days later because it's one of my favorite movies ever. It's like a whodunit, action, gangster, mob movie, and that's what I love so much about it. It's funny. Colin Farrell will have you laughing your butt off throughout this film, but it's also got those emotional moments as well with Matthew McConaughey. Just such a great actor, and overall, just one of those movies that keeps you on the edge of your seat, and it's like the whodunit because at the end, they fill in all the blanks of how everything went down throughout the movie. It's brilliant. It's even getting turned into a Netflix series coming out in a couple months. Gassed for it. At number 1, my number 1 favorite movie of the decade so far is Top Gun Maverick. This is a movie that is arguably my favorite movie of all time. It's my favorite sequel of all time. It's one of those movies I went in with pretty moderate expectations, and I came out saying that is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. One of the best theater experiences I've ever had in my life. They say Tom Cruise and Top Gun Maverick saved movies. It very well might have. I quote this movie all the time. I watch this movie all the time. It's my comfort movie, even though it's extremely intense. It's one of those movies I can turn on anytime. I can pretty much quote the entirety of it. I love Hangman. Really introduced me to Glenn Powell, one of my favorite working actors today. Miles Teller's Rooster. I mean, he looks just like Goose, and he plays it so well. And Tom Cruise's Maverick. Is there anything this guy can't do? Top Gun Maverick is one of my favorite movies of all time. It is my favorite movie of the decade so far. Let me know your favorite movies of the decade so far from 2020 till now, 2024. Let me know your favorite movies and your top 10 best picks for the decade of movies. Let me know all that down below in the comment section. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Thank you guys so much for watching and for being here. Hit the like button. See you in the next one.